I've got a lot of ground to cover literally on this presentation in 10 minutes, so I'll get started right away here. Forward-looking statement, I'll be making quite a few of those, so just caution you on that. Yeah, we're a new junior explorer. We're listed on the CSE in 2018. We're an experienced management team with a track record of past discoveries, mine production, and shareholder success. We were the founders of Tundra Copper Corporation that we sold in 2014, just 18 months after inception, for a significant return on shareholder value. So we have a good track record there. We've taken the last year to get 4 projects together that are drill ready. Primarily, our criteria are that they've got to be in good mining jurisdictions, they have to have good logistics, and they have to have deposits in the area that support mega million-ounce gold deposits. So our properties are the Burrow Creek Gold-Silver Deposit in Arizona. This is a brownfields deposit. And the Alpha Gold Project in Nevada, the RC Gold property in the Yukon, and we also have a copper asset in Nunavut that I will not be getting into in this talk. This is our shareholder graph for the last year. We've just been quietly accumulating these assets. The shares outstanding, you have to add 4 million shares on there because we just closed our first tranche of the existing financing of 4 million shares. We've maintained our ownership of 36% by participating in this current financing. So the Burrow Creek Gold property, this is our flagship property. It's got a historical resource of 5 million ounces of silver and 120,000 ounces of gold. This vein sticks out of the mountain, and this picture here, it's 40 meters wide. This picture was taken in 1988. I was the project manager on this project. That's my old Dodge truck there in the middle. But unfortunately, it didn't go into production because the price of gold tanked. But it's fortunate for us now. The property is right off the highway between Las Vegas and Phoenix. It's about 1 kilometer off the main highway there, so the logistics are very good. It's a stable mining jurisdiction, and it has excellent mining infrastructure in the area. The newest gold mine in the United States is actually the Moss mine, and it's just to the northwest of us there. You can see it, a little diamond in yellow. This is the historic resource. It's about 50% indicated and 50% inferred. We consider it valid, but it's historical until we re-verify it again. The last drilling done there on the same deposit was in 2008. Came up with the same kind of resource that we did in 1988. But what I'm trying to show you on this graph is that there's bonanza grade within this large vein system. The circle there, that's hole 30. You got a meter of 31.8 grams of gold and 759 grams of silver. That's over an ounce of gold and 24 ounces in silver. This is very repeated in a lot of drill holes. The one section here, you see almost a meter of 38.5 grams per ton gold and 83 grams per ton silver. This is the old pit design that we were going to mine. This is before computer software, so the engineer had to actually triangulate and calculate the different ore blocks. And I thought it's just interesting that we've come a long ways in the last 40 years. But we're not there because of this old resource. We like it. But what attracted us to this property was the last work done there was a mobile metal ion survey, geochemical survey, through the projection of the vein to the south. On this map here, if you look at the bottom of it, there's a bit of it, it looks like a caterpillar, but that's an actual outcrop of a vein that we always thought was a continuation of the Burrow Creek vein where the deposit is. This mobile metal ion geochemical survey lit up the gold and the silver. There's actually the same kind of a map for silver. And convinced us that this thing is just laying barely under the surface along the top of the mountain and gives us a 1.3 kilometer strike length to expand and upgrade this resource. So part of our financing is going to be 50 holes going in here. It's going to fence this thing out and potentially increase the size of this deposit dramatically. So it's an epithermal gold system, and it's open along strike and depth, and it includes these bonanza grade zones. But I think what's exciting to us is potentially only 5% of the vein has been drilled to date. And this geochem survey has really given the potential of expanding that dramatically. We have the option to earn 100% of this property. Our second property is the Alpha Gold property in Nevada. This property is in the Carlin district, which is, I'm sure we all agree, is a pretty prolific gold producing area, over 30 mines in production, second largest, richest area on the planet for gold. And we own this 100%. There's no underlying agreements there. These Carlin type gold deposits, well, just mentioned, they've got over 200 million ounces discovered to date in the Carlin district. They're mega gold deposits that line up with these trends. The Alpha Gold property, it's located in favorable carbonate rocks that are projected to intersect the Cortez gold trend and the Garden Valley anticline in our area. We've got old logs from a drill hole that were done by an oil company about 1982 that show that the lower plate carbonates carried anomalous gold for like 1,000 feet. And two of these drill holes are just to the north of our property in the Garden Valley anticline stratigraphy. So this is very encouraging to us that we could end up in an intersection that could host a Carlin type deposit. We've already got permitted to put up to 12 holes in that, and it's very compelling, and we're definitely going to be putting 400 grand of our money into this. This is just a bit of a cartoon that shows the mega deposits in the area. These icons are elephants, and where Alpha Gold is, it's the big red dot there. That's the intersection of the projection of the Cortez trend, where those three elephants actually are a total of 50 million ounces plus in gold. So a very, very prospective setting. This just kind of details a bit more, shows the Garden Valley anticline and the location of the drill holes to the north of us that showed this anomalous gold. And on a note, the Gold Bar mine that just went into production recently is just to the southwest of us. The geologist did a cross-section through our property, and this is what was very compelling for us and why we picked up the property is he's showing that the lower plate carbonates are preserved, down-dropped on our property, and that coupled with the fact that there's a gold soil anomaly on the surface that could be leakage from the lower plate, we're very excited about testing that. Our third property is the RC Gold property in the Yukon. Like I said, I've been covering a lot of ground here, and we just acquired this in August. It's newly road accessible, and that was one of the criteria that attracted us there. Plus, it's you can see here, it's in the Tintina Gold Belt, where Fort Knox and Victoria Gold are producing. And zoomed in there, Tombstone Gold Belt is within the Tintina Gold Belt. And Sitka Gold's property is on this newly developed road that goes right into that area. So we're pretty keen on this property because we're surrounded by some pretty quality companies, like Victoria Gold is our neighbor on the west there. It's never had any drilling, but the last 2 years, the geochem and mapping has lit up 6 different intrusion-related gold deposit targets, which is what Victoria Gold is, and also Gold Predators Bury Creek. We want to drill these. We think that one of these targets is actually an extension of the other one, and by filling that in, could look at a target that's got a 2 kilometer strike length, maybe 2 million ounces too. That would be nice. So our future plans. We're going to close this private placement. It's up to 15 million units at 11 cents. Raise 1.65 million. Each unit will be a share and 1/2 warrant. That warrant is good for 2 years at a price of 16 cents, and the net proceeds will be used to drill these 2 properties, Burrow Creek Gold and Alpha Gold. 50 drill holes into Burrow Creek to upgrade that and expand that historical resource, and also drill Alpha Gold's Carlin type target. In the meantime, we're going to be permitting our RC gold property in the Yukon with plans to drill that in the spring. That's about it. Thanks.
Thanks, Cor. Just two questions. So first of all, I mean, it's really interesting that your experience at Burrow Creek in particular is so long. And in the years since '88, when you were down there, I think you said, you've seen obviously a big number of projects. You've had a pretty wide-ranging career as a consulting geologist and with companies and whatnot. So what specifically is it that has held Burrow Creek in such high esteem for you as you've gone through this, your most of your career and seen so many other projects?
Well, I guess because I almost had it in production in 1988, and when I see gold was at $400 an ounce then, and now it's almost $1,600, that was compelling. But also, it's a private property that the deposit is on, which means it could be put into production in a fairly short period of time. We would look at, once we're finished this drilling, if we do decide to do a production decision, we would be putting the heap leach pad on private property as well in that area. And it just logistically, I think it would be fairly easy to put it in production in that jurisdiction. So that's, I might add to that I've put 2 properties into production in Arizona in the past. And that's my comfort zone, is doing that, being a mining engineering and a geologist, mining engineering technologist and geologist. I'm kind of comfortable on both sides of the river there.
Yeah. And the Burrow Creek, if you want to just lay out some context for what you think the drilling is going to hit into. I mean, obviously the resource was approached as a more bulk tonnage, lower grade opportunity, but this epithermal system also has high grade within it. So sort of what do you think, if it does continue along these 1.5 kilometer of volcanic covered strike extent that the soil survey looks like it does, what would you think you'd hit into?
Well, like I mentioned, we think that only about 5% of that vein has been actually drilled, and so you can do the math there. This could be significantly increased in tonnage and ounces. These epithermal systems, it's quite common for them to have a bonanza grade component to them, and that would be down the road. We'd be looking at the underground potential of that. But right now we're looking at what we could open pit and having that 1.3 kilometer strike length. The actual deposit is only 300 meters in length. So it's very little. It's just sticking out the side of the mountain like a tail on an elephant is what we're looking at. So we're pretty excited about being able to upgrade that.
I love that the symbols on your map were actually elephants, by the way. That was good. Perfect. Thanks, Cor.
Thank you, Grant.